Is Alexandre Pantoja one fight away from becoming one of the GOATs of the flyweight division? Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? Laura Sanko here, as always, joined by my partner in prediction, Din Thomas, coming from a very serious room
Right.
with the blinds shut.
You know,
I
you
guess
know,
my.
you know. Well, you know, what I'm saying because dirt happens when the show is over.
Whoa! Where are you? Are you in the club again? Are you in
I'm
the
in the red.
club?
I'm in this. We in the red light district.
Are you in the club? Oh my God.
Nah,
Gosh.
I'm just kidding. We out here, man. I try to keep it serious, man, because when I get down with the fans, man, I want to make sure that the fans know that I'm serious about my takes.
Yes. God, I would love it so much if you just opened those blinds and there was some girl spinning around in a pole out there. That would
I'm
make
in
my
the
ear.
club. I'm in the strip club.
Yes. Yes.
I'm in the back room of the strip club.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. All right, guys, let me get this train back on the tracks here. We are here to talk about the co-main event for UFC 317. It is Alexandre Pantoja taking on Kai Kara France for the featherweight title, which Alexandre Pantoja has just been defending and defending and defending. Before we get to the fight, though, a little bit of housekeeping. We do have some fan questions slash comments to get to at the end of this, so stay tuned for that. No videos this time, but we do have some of the written comments. So if you guys want to do that, you can respond to the pinned comment below. Or, as Dean and I said in the other video, just send in the videos. Just send in the videos. They're so much better. It takes 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be cute, okay? Just selfie it, 30 seconds, send it to OneOnOneCombatSports at gmail.com, and we will include you in our next video.
I don't even look cute. You don't have to look cute. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so just send a video because I don't hardly even be nowhere. So just send a video.
well, we have a fantastic co-main event to talk about. Alexandre Pantoja has been ruling the flyweight division with an iron fist, and this is actually a rematch from 9 years ago when these guys were on The Ultimate Fighter. To be honest with you, I watched that fight and I was just like, neither of these guys are really the same guy anymore. So it's kind of one of those rematches that I don't know that the first fight really matters all that much, but just for history's sake, Pantoja did win it, won a pretty clean unanimous decision. It was just a two-rounder though, so, because it was on The Ultimate Fighter.
Laura, I'm glad you brought that up because I
Ooh.
spoke with Pantoja today, and he mentioned that actually, and he gave me an interesting take on his perspective of when he's looking at opponents that he's fighting, and he brought that up about not only that they fought before, but he said when they fought before, he didn't have kids, and now he's fighting a man. He said he's not just fighting a fighter; he's fighting a man with a family. He's fighting a man with kids. He's fighting a man that has worked so hard to get to this spot, and he takes all that into account as he's preparing for this man. Like, he's not just fighting some dude just that wants to win. He's fighting a man who wants to win for something. And I never really heard anybody put it that way. In all my years, I never really heard anybody. He was like, "I'm not just fighting a man. I'm fighting a dude that has a family now." Like, and I never heard anybody put it that way or take it that serious in terms of what's on the opposition.
Yeah.
And Pantoja, I've been in the room with him. I actually helped him cut weight for a fight back in the day when he was just coming up. And he's always been a really solid warrior type fighter. But since he's become champion, he's really grown into this championship level mentality in terms of how he conducts himself, how he trains, and how he treats the game. And it's special too. It's not only just special, but it's refreshing to see when we got champions that are just, kind of prima donnas. It's refreshing to see a champion like that
What it
who,
means.
yeah, and I gave him a compliment in terms of how much I respect him as a champion, and he said, "This is why I do this." He said, "I don't do this because I want 1 million followers. I do this to have respect from others in the community." And it shows in his performances and the way he conducts himself. And I love him as a champion for this.
Yeah. I mean, that's what makes him a real martial artist. And interestingly enough, I think that if Kai were to get the better of him, that he would be the same type of champion in that way, in terms of appreciating the meaning of the work, and not just like, oh, here I am in the spotlight and I get to buy a big car and I get to do cool things now. Um, I when you watch, or when you try to like research Kai before any fight, but in particular this fight, almost everything that he talks about is what Pantoja mentioned, is his family and his culture in particular. Now, I'm not the most educated person about Maori culture, New Zealand culture, any of that, so I'm probably going to get the terminology wrong. But when you hear him speak, he's starting to speak. He literally is speaking in Maori more and more and more. Like, you can see how much he has dived into his heritage, in particular in the last couple of years. He posted some screenshots from Countdown, which obviously Countdown hasn't been released yet as of when we're filming this, but he posted some screenshots of what's going to be in Countdown, and it's him in like the full traditional, I'm not going to know what it's called, but the full traditional garb, the native dress, and with a whole team in an octagon doing the haka. And it's so freaking cool. It's just screenshots, so obviously I haven't seen the video of it yet, but you can see how much he puts on his back when he goes into situations like this, not just his immediate family, but his particular, his Maori culture, and larger than that, the country of New Zealand, his gym, City Kickboxing. Like, he takes on all of these like identities and carries them into the fight. And I do think for certain guys, and he seems to be one of them, that emotion, that meaning is important for them coming into a fight. That meaning, that mana, that fighting spirit is incredibly important for people.
Well, it's funny you mention it that way, because it's like he's taking on these things, and for some people, that would feel like a lot of weight to carry. Oh, I'm carrying the whole culture on my back, the whole family on my back. But I almost feel like when you're dealing with guys like that, it's not them just carrying this weight, but it's almost like an oxygen tank. Like, it gives him something more. Like,
Yes.
yeah, he's carrying an oxygen tank, but it allows him
Feeding
to
him.
breathe. It feeds him to fight. And that's why these guys go in there and they fight so hard. And they fight with so much passion, and they fight with just so much dedication. And it's hard to beat a guy like that. It really is hard to beat a guy like that. The problem with this, and I've always said this kind of about City Kickboxing, and this is not me trying to knock City Kickboxing, but the problem with this is that because they're so tight, they're a little excluded to the rest of the world in terms of, in my opinion, in terms of like where the game can be going at times. You know what I'm saying? So think of it like this. They had that run a couple of years ago when they had the squad. I mean, it was, when Izzy was on top, and Volkanovski was doing a lot of work with them, and they had Brad Riddell, and I mean, they were on top. Hooker. They was really doing a lot of good work. And then it caught up to him. Kind of caught up to him. Volk seemed to spend more time working on his grappling with Craig Jones and doing different things. And Hooker had some ups and downs. Izzy finally, caught up to him. Kai Car-France kind of had some ups and so I thought it caught up to him. And to me, it was more of a reflection of, these guys are so far out in New Zealand, and it doesn't seem like they allow a lot of outside information into their team. And that can actually be a detriment to them, because they're not getting some of the information that's going around, like where MMA is. And I thought that may have been a little detrimental to the team itself.
That's an interesting
I
thought.
spoke to Navajo Sterling, after his fight in Montreal. And during the fight, Navajo Sterling's a tremendous kickboxer, but he's fighting the old boy and he's taking him down. And I'm like, yo, he looks pretty good. And then in the hotel after the fight was over, I said, dude, you wrestle pretty good. Why don't you do that more? He goes, man, I should, right? My coaches, they just never really. And I'm like, dude, that should be a major part. Like, I'm not asking you to put on a singlet and go out there and try to be Bo Nickel. I'm just saying incorporate a little bit more of that But I think that has a lot to do with just like team culture and like that culture that they've gathered as a team that just doesn't really allow for a lot of deviation at times, maybe. And I think that that kind of hurt their team a little bit.
Do you feel like maybe that is perhaps changing now that they are feeling like maybe some things need to change? I know in
Maybe.
particular, like the last few fights, there's been a real emphasis, at least in Adesanya's camps, which I'm assuming trickles over into Kai's camps as well, on the strength and conditioning aspect of things. That's been a really big thing for them, is like the cardio and the strength to be able to execute on, the high level game plan that the coaches are putting together.
But
It's an
that wasn't
interesting.
ever an issue. I never thought that was an issue for them. I thought that the issue for them was actually like grappling,
Yeah.
like defending takedowns and even not just defending takedowns, but maybe be having some offensive stuff going on in the grappling areas, right? I thought that was the biggest issue because it's, after a while, like you start, it catches up to you. But if you don't get ahead of it and have an evolution in terms of, all right, we're not only going to start defending takedowns, but you're going to get really good at shooting, and now guys going to have to worry about that too. That to me was the issue. It wasn't a strength and conditioning issue for me. It was the fact that it got kind of predictable.
What do you think of Kai's last fight? Because, it's an interesting division, right? Because Pantoja has looked so dominant, right? He beat Kai Asakura. I mean, beat the brakes
Yeah, beat
off
the
Kai
brakes off guy.
Asakura.
Yeah.
And we were all like, ooh, this will be interesting. A champion from another organization, super dangerous. Nope. Steve Erceg, Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno. Those are the title fights. And then before that, Alex Perez. So that's his last 5 fights. For Kai, he got that sensational knockout over Steve Erceg last time out, which really put him in this spot. That is why he is here. But he did have the loss to Amir Albazi, although frankly, I called that fight and I thought he won that fight. So maybe we're kind of like looking the other way on that one. He had the loss to Brandon Moreno where he took the kick. And then
He was doing
Aspinall,
very well up until that point where he took the kick.
he was doing very well up until the point where he took the kick. And the thing that really jumped out to me is just how infrequently he fights. I wish I could get more of Kai Kara France, because I was like, dang, is he really only had? Because I remember the Amir Albazi fight that I called. I was like, man, that feels like forever ago. And it was June of 2023. It was 2 years ago. So Amir Albazi, Steve Erceg, those are his last 2 fights in the last 2 years.
Well, I it's hard to say. I just think that I also remember the Amir Albazi fight, and I thought Amir won. Actually, I just thinking in
Did
my head,
you?
yeah, I really thought he won. I'm not sure. I have to go back and watch it. I'm not going to go back and watch it, like to judge it, but
I just, I just
but
said
but but that's a telling fight. But that probably taught him a lot, though. To be in a fight that you think you're winning, because he clearly thought he won the fight as well. To be in a fight that he thought he won, but to still have lost. So that can teach you a lot. That, okay, while I thought this was scoring, it absolutely wasn't. And when he's fighting a guy like Pantoja, he's going to have to draw from that fight and go, what didn't I do in this fight that I thought I was doing that was scoring? So he's going to have to draw from that fight and learn from it to maybe take some of those lessons into a fight with Pantoja.
Well, it's certainly one of the things that he needs to worry about from that fight is the fact that Amir Albazi had his back a couple times. And in spots where I think Albazi was looking to wrestle and control, Pantoja would be looking to take your neck, like in an instant. Pantoja's speed with which he finds submissions is so impressive to me, so incredibly impressive. It's probably one of the most dangerous things about him. And on the flip side, you've got Kai Kara France, who's got some crazy, crazy heavy hands. I mean, he put Steve Erceg out. If we're going to do MMA math, he beat Steve Erceg better than Pantoja beat him, for sure. We don't like to do MMA
We
math, though.
well,
We
we
don't.
can't do MMA math on that
Zero.
because, well, Steve Erceg, he lacks defense. He doesn't have the greatest defense, and Kai Kara France hit him with a missile. You know,
Yeah.
he hit him with a missile.
Step through, overhand left,
Yeah, yeah.
softball.
He hit him with a missile.
Yeah.
Stylistically, I'm going to be honest with you here. I'm always honest. Stylistically, this is a nightmare matchup for Kai France. I believe it is. Because Pantoja is a demon when he comes at you. He's not afraid to trade with you. He's got an iron chin for a flyweight. Unless he gets hit with like a really, sticks his chin out, gets hit with a really good shot, I expect him to be able to take a couple of punches from Kai France to get to him. And if he gets Kai France, if he gets close enough to him to create a scramble, he's getting on his back. Now here's one of Pantoja's best attributes. He doesn't have to be in great shape to win fights. He's going to find a way to get in a position to just chill. Like, you ever see him in fights? He's dead tired, but he's going to get your back and hold you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He definitely has moments where optically you'd be like, man, this guy needs to work on his cardio. But to your point, in the midst of heaving and looking like a little sloppy, he'll find a spot where he can cling.
He's like, hey, listen, all I got to do is go 25 minutes. I can look tired. I just got to go 25 minutes.
25
That's it.
minutes is a long time to
It's a long time, but he's done it. He's done it.
Yeah.
He's looked bad. He's looked bad on numerous occasions, and still won because he was like, I don't have to go 26 minutes. All I got to go is 25.
25, yeah.
It's just 25 minutes. That's it. I can look bad.
Before I forget to do it, because we're already heavy into our analysis, let me run through some of the stats on these guys. Alexandre Pantoja, 29-5 overall. Kai France, 25-11 overall. And of course, their last five, Pantoja undefeated in their last five. Kai France is 3-2 in the last five, although as we mentioned, the Emir Albazi one perhaps controversial. Pantoja 5-5, Kai France 5-4. 67-inch reach for Pantoja, 69-inch reach for Kai France. Strikes landed per minute, 4.41 for Pantoja, 4.56 for Kai France, so pretty close there. Striking accuracy, 50% for Pantoja and 39% for Kai France, which is surprisingly low considering how much power he has and how often you think about him making contact and really having a big effect. Strikes absorbed per minute, 3.92 for Pantoja, 3.22 for Kai France. Defense, 50% for Pantoja, 65% for Kai France. So that's very, very high. Takedown average, 2.74 for Pantoja, 0.61 for Kai. Accuracy for Pantoja, 47% on takedowns, 33% for Kai. Takedown defense, 68% for Pantoja and 88% for Kai France. And as you might imagine, submission average is almost 1 for Pantoja and 0 for Kai, because he just doesn't go for submissions at all that often. I'm honestly a little surprised to see how low the accuracy is for Kai, but I guess when you've got an eraser, you're less worried about landing everything and more worried about landing the one thing.
Yeah, that is a bit shocking.
Every once in a while I see his stat and I'm like, are we sure about that one?
They must have. Did they count that right? Yeah.
But I think, okay, here's my thought on this. He spends a lot of time figuring out how to close the distance and land big shots. So the way that we do our stats, where everything at distance is considered significant, even if he's just throwing feeler jabs, they're going to count those as missed shots. So that's how I would attribute that. I don't know. I could be right. I could be wrong.
But am I tripping, Laura? I mean, for me, I just feel like I don't know what the odds are on his fight, but it couldn't be. No matter what you told me, I wouldn't be surprised unless they were like close.
Well, now I'm gonna have to look it up.
Because when we talked about the odds for Ilya and Charles, I was blown away by those odds.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. But if it was this fight and you told me those odds, I'd be like, that sounds about right to me.
So you feel like Pantoja should be a pretty heavy favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, so he is a favorite and a decently heavy favorite, but not as heavy as Ilia Topuria. Alexandre Pantoja minus 265, Kai France plus 215 right now.
Okay.
So Big, but
To
not.
me, that sounds about right. To me, that
Yeah,
sounds about right.
agree.
Yeah, you unless you said he was like a minus 1,000, I'd be like, whoa, that's crazy. But a minus 265 to me sounds about right. I feel like that should be about the line that it should be at because I feel like stylistically this isn't going to be the toughest matchup for Pantoja. Now, not to say that he can't get clipped and knocked out, but stylistically, I don't think this is the toughest matchup for Pantoja.
So how do you feel like he's going to get it done? What do you think it's going to
I
look
think
like?
I think Pantoja he's gonna miss some takedowns because Kai Car Francis and he said this like Pantoja said, man, he's slippery. He's like holding on to a fish. He said he expects that. So because you expect that, one, it's probably going to happen, but two, it's not going to panic you because you know that it's a possibility. But I think he's going to miss a few takedowns, but eventually he's going to catch up to Kai Car France and he's going to dominate him in the grappling exchanges, hold on to him. And Kai Car France will always be dangerous throughout the whole fight. But I would not be surprised to see a fourth or fifth round submission by Pantoja. Wouldn't be surprised.
He's so good, so good on the ground, and
Yeah,
the people that he's been able to do that against is what really sticks out to me. Is like who he's been able to dominate on the ground. It's
yeah.
incredible.
I don't think that this is his toughest challenge for Pantoja. I thought Manel Kopp would have been a tougher challenge, just based on the speed of Manel Kopp. But Kai Car France isn't to me the fastest guy. I think he's very slippery. He's very aware of what's going on. But I just think that Pantoja is going to be a little too much for him.
It's going to be interesting seeing Pantoja fight someone shorter than he is, because
I know, right?
Aya Sakura was like 5'8".
I
He
know,
was
yeah.
5'8". Brandon Royval's like 5'9". Moreno's 5'7". I mean, those are some,
What if that's the kryptonite?
right? I
I
mean,
mean, it's a possibility.
listen, if we want to go down that rabbit hole and like think about possibilities, strange though they may be, it is definitely harder to get underneath the shots of a guy who's shorter than you to find their hips. If you're going to shoot, it's hard to shoot underneath a shorter guy that's throwing bombs.
That is true. I'm really looking forward to this fight. Because I mean, I love Pantoja, but I'd like to see, I want to see what Kai Car France can do. I want him to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I want him to. I want him to prove me wrong.
He's a guy who's really easy to root for. I mean, they both
Yeah.
are. That's the hard
Yeah.
thing about this is like my heart's with both of them. But yeah, you get the sense that Kai has like spent a lifetime being an underdog.
I know.
And
He's so little and he's so cute. You ever see him walk around the hotel? Like he's just like he got this little mean face
that's a
on him.
grown ass man, Dean.
He probably got kids and shit.
That's a man with children.
And I'm like, he's so cute. He's adorable.
Dean. Oh my God.
I can't
I
help
would never dare to, well, I would, but I'm a woman, so I can call men cute. It's different coming from another man. But yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing Pantoja fight someone that's even smaller than he is because he's pretty short for the division. Will that have an effect? I don't know. Kai Car France has some insane power.
Yeah, he's got the kiss of death, and when you have that, you can just change a fight. You can change a fight, and you can change your life in an instant. And he has the ability to do that next Saturday night. I hope he proves me wrong.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. We've got some fan comments that we can get to. We love hearing from you guys.
Yay! Fan comments. You make me
Okay,
feel so
at
special.
Vincent Gonzaba 4656. Thank you guys for all the content. It's great. Thank you. This card has a lot of great fighters. If they lose one more, that could get cut. Tafa, Costa, Royval, maybe. I don't know about Royval. Who do you all think needs to have a victory on this card? Thanks. I know someone.
Who?
Paulo Costa.
He's not getting cut though.
A win. But, Dean, the man needs a win.
Well, everybody needs a win.
He really needs a win.
When's the last time he won a fight?
Win? Okay, he's lost two in a row. His last win was that weird win over Luke Rockhold, and then he had a loss to Vittori and a loss to Adesanya. So he's
He needs to
one
win.
and four, with his one win being
Damn, really?
the Rockhold win.
I guess that's why these guys don't fight all that much. Because if he was 1 and 4 in like a span of 14 months, I would have remembered that. I didn't realize he was that trash.
But oh, whoa. But the crazy thing about that is like because it's happened over such a long period of time, I almost it took me a second to think about that too.
That's what I'm saying. Like you just forget.
Because in my mind, he's still like, oh, he's still the scary, big, muscly guy at 185, you know?
All right, so I have some guys that I think need to win. Not for the fear of only one guy for fear of getting cut. Nico Price. If Nico Price loses, he might get cut.
He's had a good long run.
Yeah, he's had a tremendous
I
career.
like him.
The problem is he's got like 8 kids, so
He does have so many
he needs his
kids.
job.
So many kids.
I think Beneil Dariush needs a win unless he wants to become the gatekeeper on Night Watch. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not going to get cut, but unless if he wants to try to avoid being the gatekeeper of guys at the top, he needs to win.
Do you think he's not that now?
Already, maybe he might be. He might be, but he might be able to get a promotion with a
Resurrect
win,
another.
right?
Yeah.
He might be able to escape this title if he wins. So I think he needs to win. I think he has to win, or else he's always going to be in a position, and it's going to. And in fact, it'll get worse. It'll get worse. I mean, if he loses to, if he loses this fight, then he's fighting guys like Roofy. You know what I'm saying? Like they're really going to throw him at all the
Some
up and
tough.
coming dogs. And then lastly, Peyton Talbot needs a win. Peyton
To
Talbot
get that
needs a win.
momentum back. Yeah, I
And
forgot he got out.
Here's the problem, Laura. He's not going to beat Felipe Lima.
That's a tough fight.
Felipe Lima is good. I'm surprised they made this fight happen. I don't think they realize how good Felipe Lima is.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're sacrificing one of your golden children either way.
He might have. Maybe he pissed him off. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know, but he doesn't beat Felipe Lima.
That's a tough fight.
Yeah.
That's a tough fight. Okay, well, there you go. Those are our picks for people who need to get themselves a win. All right, we've got one from at Michael Sparks 6719. Ask Uncle Dean why, if Dana says he has to offer fighters 3 fights a year, is that a lie? Or is a lot of fighters turning down a lot of fights? Sure seems like there's a few guys that fight 1 time a year.
All right. So this is the big thing that people always ask me. Sometimes we have such hero worship towards fighters. We love them because they get in there and they kill each other for our entertainment, and we almost can't talk bad about it. That's why people get mad at me for talking bad about fighters, because they think that
I can't do it.
yeah, you don't even do it because you're like, shit, I can't talk bad about them. They get in there and
I
kill
don't have the
for my
street cred that
entertainment.
you do.
Fighters turn down fights all the time.
That's true.
So your favorite fighters who you think are just so noble and courageous, they'll get a call and be like, hell to the no,
Hell
I'm not taking that fight. They're not as courageous as you think. They turn down fights all the time. In fact, this is why Dana loves, and this is why the UFC loves guys that accept fights. This because they're so used to guys turning fights down. They're so used to it. They're so used to guys going, nah, I don't want that fight. Nah, I don't want that fight.
What if you had to guess? And Dean, I am agreeing with Dean because although I'm not going to name names, this is 100% true. What percent of fights do you think get turned down? 50?
Yeah, for
60?
sure.
60.
50, maybe 50.
Yeah.
And especially at the highest level, 50 to 60 fights, 50 to 60% of the fights. And they use the excuse of, oh, that guy's behind me. He doesn't do nothing for me. Dude, anytime you get an opportunity to fight in front of people, it does something for you. Because it's a moment where you can have a viral moment or a good win that really separates you from everybody else in the pack. So it's always bullshit to me when these guys are like, no, I don't want to fight this guy. It's fear. You're afraid to fight a guy who you think could possibly beat you. And fighters do it all the time. So when Dana says he offers guys, they have to offer guys 3 fights a year. They do. Just fighters
They are.
don't take it. They
Yeah.
automatically get injured. I got a shoulder injury.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it. Yeah.
Yep. Nursing a knee.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it. All right, we've got at Woody558 with a win over Kaikar France. Pantoja will have 4 title defenses. Where does Pantoja belong on the current pound for pound list?
You want to go first?
No,
I've
you
been
go.
going
'Cause I'm gonna
first.
look up the list.
Oh, well, here. So I did a little research on this. So Pantoja is currently at number 10 on UFC's pound for pound list.
10?
He's number 10. That's crazy to me. Okay, so I do believe.
Rude.
Yeah, it is. It's actually not fair for him. I believe he should be somewhere in between 5 and I think so. Jack Della Maddalena is at 8. I think Jack Della Maddalena should be at about 10, and Pantoja should be 7 or 8 somewhere.
He should definitely be higher than Jack Della Maddalena.
Yeah.
Just based on the number of title defenses.
No kidding. Without
And
a
I
doubt.
love Jack. I
Yeah.
love Jack.
I know
Don't get
for
that
sure.
twisted. But yes, I agree. I think so. It goes right now. It goes Islam, Marab, John, Ilya, Dricus, Magomed, Alexander Volkanovski. I'm a little surprised to see Magomed Ankalaev so high. I guess it's just because he
Because he
beat
beat Alex.
Alex.
Because
Do you
Alex is
absorb?
because
Do you,
Alex is
do you
Alex is still
absorb the
9.
aura? I don't fully. Okay, I get it. I get it. But I feel like you have to do that to multiple legends to absorb their aura. You can't just beat a legend and like take all his wins with you. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree with it at all. In fact, we were talking about this the other day, man. Like when you look at the welterweight rankings, it's like, okay, Usman is still pretty high in there. He earned it.
Yeah.
But even like Leon and Kobe's still in there. So I'm like, yo, these guys, after they lose, like, why do they only drop one spot?
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. Like we don't really punish guys enough for like they need to get the hell out of there. Or we give them too much. Like Magomed Ankalaev, ranked, what is he? You said 7?
6.
6?
He's number 6.
That's
He's
crazy.
higher than Volk, who just regained his title.
Yeah.
He's higher than Jack, who just got just the freshest of champions.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense to me. And Pantoja's at number 10.
Yeah, 9. Oh no, you're right. 10. 10. Yeah,
To
Pereira's
me,
9.
he should be about. To me, I would say probably about 7 somewhere.
Yeah. Would you put him above Dricus?
No, I'd put Dricus a little bit ahead of him. I think Pantoja, for as great as he is, he did have a couple of wins. Urseg was one bad decision away from taking the title
Yeah.
from him, and he had a couple split decision wins.
Mm-hmm.
So I think about 7 is where he should be.
All right. I like it. That was a surprise to me. Let me tell
But
you.
but to me, it's got nothing to do with him beating Kaikar France. Either way, I think he should still be about 6 or 7 either way.
Yeah, agree. The pound for pound is a little sizest in my opinion. And the funny thing is the whole point of the pound for pound is that you take size out of the equation. And yet I feel like it's still in there.
It's definitely still in there.
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense to me actually. I guess you can't really make everybody happy with rankings, so
Yeah.
I don't let that shit affect me.
They could just let us do it and then we would be happy.
Yeah, let me rank them. I'll be happy with my rankings.
Yeah, we'll just let Dean secretly take over that list. All right, that's all we have for fan submissions. We appreciate your viewership. As always, Dean, we thank you for your time. We thank you for making yourself available wherever the hell you are right now. You don't even need to tell us. It's an undisclosed location. Thank you guys as always, for watching. We've got other videos, of course, on this channel for you to check out, and we always want to hear from you. So click subscribe, comment to the pinned comment, send us your videos, oneoncombatsports@gmail.com, and we will see you next time.